I'll hit pause and everybody can go on their wonderful day, because if you have this thought that runs through your mind, like I'm not good enough, or I didn't get that promotion at work, or my marriage sucks, right? Or I'm in divorce, I'm going through divorce, or I'm remarried now and it's not as blissful as it comes. Sean just told you that as long as you have hope and a desire to be better, that's the key, to a desire to be better, it will happen. It won't happen overnight. Sean, you're going to read the book. Everybody on this call, you're going to listening and watching, you will go out and read this book. I'm telling you, it will inspire and change you. It did for me. It took me 2 days to read it, because what Sean did is he started the building blocks to his I am statements. That's why the I am statements are so powerful. Sean just introduced it a different way. He had hope. He would never give up. He could not quit on that 10-year-old self that he promised that he would become better. Man, sir, that's freaking awesome. That is absolutely freaking awesome. So now let's talk about the dynamic character, right? You are now gone through all this and you made a conscious, a decision, right? An intentional decision that you will become better, right? So I need to read this, page 72 of your book. It kind of starts us off of where you are making that decision. I think it's just, man, I don't know. It's just where you need to be starting that transformation. This is where your life starts to get us to that more positive state, right? So help us now. You've made that decision, that declaration, that the clarion call, if you will. What do you start doing? What is your daily mindset? What are your daily affirmations? What are your daily processes that you are doing every single day inside prison to help you become better?
Yeah, so that's where it all starts, you know. I mean, I had this desire, like you put it, as you put it perfectly. I had desire and I had faith, but that wasn't enough. That wasn't enough if I wasn't willing to take action to actually do something about it. So how do I get to the point of having desire and faith and then taking action to change my life? Well, the first thing that was happening was I realized I had to get control over my thoughts, because I was still waking up and the first thing I would think about was the worst case scenario. I would think about, I'm going to spend the rest of my life in prison. No one's coming to help me. How much time am I going to do? And when I started having all these what ifs or projecting into the future, I would be overcome with anxiety, with stress, with fear. And that would just ruin me. The whole day would be wasted. I just want to curl in my sheets on my bunk bed and just pretend it wasn't real and just try to block out the world, you know. Or if I caught myself dwelling on the past and like really feeling sorrowful about my choices, same thing would happen. You know, that's how depression starts. So I realized I had to get control over my thoughts. And it started from the moment I opened my eyes, because if I didn't win that battle, that first battle, I wasn't going to win the next. I wasn't going to win the third. And then I was doomed for the day. So I realized that if I could just focus on things that I was grateful for, and I could wake up and like picture my family's faces, or just be grateful to God for giving me another day of life, or the fact that I have legs and I could just walk around this tiny cell, or that I have eyes that see colors. Like, I thought about the things that we never think about, because that's all I had. You know, everything else was stripped away. So I had to think about, what did I still have going for me? Well, my heart's beating. I'm healthy. I have these eyes. I could see colors. You know, I get to read pages out of this book. You know, I have arms and legs. I can work out. So right when I woke up, it was just a barrage of positive self-talk. And I called it optimism injection. Everything I thought about from the moment I opened my eyes had to be centered around gratitude. I had to create a gratitude perspective that would carry me through this dark place I was in. So that was the first step. The second was reframing thoughts that I was having. So instead of thinking, what if I spend the rest of my life in prison? Or like, what if I'm stuck in this cell another 3 years until they figure out what's happening? Like, all these negative outcomes. I had to change that. So I started asking myself different questions. What if this experience is happening for you, Sean, and you can't even understand it right now, but it's going to be a blessing in disguise for you? What if this experience is going to help you get sober and change your life? What if this is the reset you needed to get away from your dad and those dysfunctional relationships? Like, everything that I thought had to create a positive potential, or a feeling that left me optimistic, hopeful, grateful, positive emotions. So once I understood the correlation between my thoughts and how I was feeling, this was the battle I was fighting every day, and I started to win it. And I noticed when I would win this battle, I was more likely to get up and want to do constructive behaviors. I would want to work out. I'd want to write letters back home. I'd want to read any book I could get my hands on in the cell. So this is where I started focusing every day. It was that initial, connection with self in the morning and my self-talk. It was believing that something better could come from this experience as long as I didn't quit and give up. And then it was exercise, reading, and writing every day. And within a short period of time, something remarkable happened. I started going to sleep at night in this tiny little cell with nothing, feeling proud of who I was. I started to feel this sense of self-love and pride in who I was that I lacked my entire life. And it shocked me. I couldn't believe that in this little cell, in these circumstances that I was in, with nothing, that I could feel this type of genuine love and affinity for myself and life. So now I had this desire to live a better life. And I had this love growing inside of me. And I had this belief in myself that was swelling. And when that was occurring, it transformed everything for me. I saw that I could experience joy and fulfillment in any setting. And it wasn't dependent on what I had or where I was, but it was dependent on how I was thinking that resulted in how I was feeling and the actions I was taking every day that helped me to feel good about myself. So I want to explain that real quick too, because exercise is so powerful. We know that it releases positive endorphins. You see your body changing, you get stronger, your conditioning gets better, you're improving. You see the tangible results. So that's important. Stuff like that builds you up. It builds up your confidence and your belief in yourself. The more we do it, the better we feel about who we are. So many people lack self-esteem and confidence simply because they're not doing things that help them to feel good about who they are. That's it. That's all it is. So that was huge for me because I lacked confidence all through high school because I just wasn't doing anything I was proud of. The second thing I did was I had to get out of my comfort zone. I had to get out of my comfort zone and challenge myself. So before prison, I had said no to any opportunity. Anything that wasn't out of my comfort zone, I said no to because I was scared of failure. I was scared of what other people would think. I was scared of not being good enough. All the stuff that we deal with on a day-to-day basis, everybody has that inside of them. And I knew that if I was going to say no to stuff and hold back, it was going to prevent me from moving forward in my life. I just felt that I had to challenge myself to do anything. And the first challenge that came to me was through my writing and through the letters that I was sending back home. I wasn't a good student at this time. I didn't feel like I was intelligent. My letters were horrible. My spelling was bad. And this stemmed directly from not trying in high school and applying myself. So I kept asking my cellmate how to spell every other word, basically how to write the letter for me. And he got fed up one day. He was helping me for a couple letters. Then one day he threw a dictionary at me and hit me in the shoulder. And I got mad at him, for a split second, I was going to say something to him. But I thought to myself, like, literally, this was my thought. Okay, watch this. I took it as a personal challenge. This was my new identity. I'm going to rise to the occasion. So, man, that little pocket dictionary never left my hand. I was looking up words all day long, whether I was reading a book and writing those words down with the definition, or I was using them in letters back home. And in a very short period of time, my writing transformed. I felt my mind come alive like never before. I was memorizing these words, and now I was actually using them when the two of us were speaking. I was using them in my visitations that I was having with family members. I was using them in my letters back home. And I was proving to myself that I could change something that I thought was permanent and concrete. I thought I lacked intelligence and I wasn't smart, but that wasn't true. So by going out of my comfort zone and having this novel experience, I was actually creating, neurogenesis, which is the creation of new brain cells. And that was literally the definition of transformation. I was changing myself. I was changing the way my brain functioned, the way my brain communicated, the way that I was feeling. And so that all happened prior to going to prison. By 8 months into my incarceration, I was completely different. I was feeling different about myself. I saw that I had the ability. And then when I was sentenced to prison, I was ready to take on that experience and use it to my benefit any way I could. And that was the mindset that I created.
Oh, man, there's so much there. There's so much there. And if you guys, you're probably on page 5 of all the notes that you're taking, because Sean is literally giving you a master class on mindset training, on altering the way that you see an augmented reality into the reality that you get to choose, a reality that you get to embrace, a reality that says, I'm not a quitter. I'm not a loser. I repel every negative thought that has ever been said about me and even in my own brain. Like he's literally laying out the blueprint of what he has done to transform his mindset. In fact, I have to read this because there are two things that you said, but I just need to touch on really quick. Page 76, second paragraph down, it says, but how much could I really accomplish from prison? What could I actually hope to achieve given my circumstance? To be honest, that question never posed a threat. It never crossed my mind. I had uncovered so much to explore within that I felt I had a lifetime of work ahead of me. And ironically, a prison was the perfect place to embark upon this journey of redemption, healing, and leaving behind my limiting beliefs and negative perceptions once and for all. So let me ask this question. How can you said you would wake up every morning and were grateful. Like I tell people all the time, the attitude of gratitude. How would you then tell somebody to get out of their comfort zone when they say, well, my story is not so great. My life isn't simple. I'm not like you. I mean, I can't speak like you and talk like you. I mean, I can't get over that. How would you help somebody get over and get past these limiting beliefs that hold them back from greatness?
I love that question. Well, first of all, I'd challenge them. I'd say, well, it's your belief that you can't, that's going to determine that. If you change your belief, your outcomes are going to change. But what I do with people is I help them to get clear on their truth. Like I tell them, look, man, look, Cameron, if you could write down what you want your life to be like in 5 years, and there's no limitations, like where do you want to be living? How much money are you making? What are the characteristics that you embody? What physical shape are you in? What are you doing for fun? Like I want to know who your best self is, man. And if you write it down, these words are going to come to life for you. Like that's the first step. We have to get past the limitations. So we have to almost trick them into writing out their truth. And when you write it out and you're reflecting on it and you're putting detail on it, suddenly they're going to see that like, wow, that's the person I really want to be. I was just saying I'm okay. I was just saying I don't want to make these changes, but no, that's the person I want to be. I just identified it. So they have to identify it within themselves though. I can't tell them. It has to be a thought or an idea from within. So getting them to write it out like that, I found to be highly effective.
Guys, stop right now and just
Cameron,
go
let me
back.
interrupt. Let me
Sure,
interrupt.
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. If we have limiting beliefs, it's just programming from the past that somebody said something, some experience happened that led you to think you couldn't do it. Like I didn't go to school, so therefore I didn't think I was smart because I had no experience to draw from, right? So I had to challenge that belief head on is what I did. I knew that I wanted to be someone who was articulate. I wanted to be someone who was intelligent. I wanted to be an athlete. Like I already had been going through the vision of who I wanted to be. I knew inside of me who I wanted to be. I had to act upon that person to prove that I could do those things though. So for people who are saying, oh, like I can't do that, or they're struggling with limiting beliefs, first of all, understand those beliefs, they come from somewhere. Who told you that? Where did you hear it? What happened? Just because it happened in the past doesn't mean it has to continue happening in the present or the future. You can change. You can change, but you have to understand that. And I just found that like getting them to envision and think about who they want to be, if they could just write it down and those words would come to life, that helps them to realize, wow, like I do want to improve this thing. I do want to change this thing. And that's where it starts.
You know, there's great, there's great power when you go from thought to pen to paper. And Bill, a lot, I mean, I've been preaching this for years. When you write something down, it's almost like it becomes cemented in your core memory, and you hold yourself accountable when you write it down, which is why people don't write their dreams, their goals, their aspirations with what you make people do on 5 years. What would you be? Restrip everything, all the what ifs and whatnot. Write it down. It's people are afraid to write down because look, I'll hold somebody accountable who owes me money, but I won't even hold myself accountable if I'm not even going anywhere towards my dreams or things that will make me feel better. And that, what you just said, you hit head on, head on. The last thing I want to point out is something that you said in page 81 of this book, which I think is super, super important for so many of us. Okay. Towards the bottom of the first paragraph, it says, I actually said it out loud. There is a God, isn't there? The moment those words were articulated, I felt the most invigorating and palpable energy surge through my body. It arose from the depths of my being and radiated to every inch of my body. I couldn't believe the sense and the implications of this moment. It was in that instance that I came to know definitely that I wasn't alone, and I haven't been ever since. That moment is what made my journey through prison so fruitful. It is only because of God that what that what I considered to be miracles of my personal transformation was possible. Listen, you can believe in God, you can believe in universe, you can believe in the spirit, whatever. But what you are saying is there is something bigger and greater than you. God was somebody that you now have, that you know, that you knew, and you have always known. Help us help us understand where and how in prison were you able to see God's hand at work?
Yeah. Just recently, I heard someone say that when you're suffering, like really suffering, is when you're the closest to God. And I think that's because we hold up a wall a lot in life. You know, there's this wall that we keep up, and it's not until you're at your lowest of lows, or you're so down, you're in such a horrible situation that you literally have no recourse other than to just cry out to God, the universe, like, please help me through this situation. Like, there's nothing else I could have done. And it was survival. It was me just like searching within and outward for some help and guidance. And I never would have got to that point if I hadn't been at such a low. So there's something to be said about, like, when things are going good in life, very few people pray out to God for anything, or like, we do it when we're at our worst, when we
Mhm.
have no other recourse. Like I said, we have nothing else that we can do. So for me, I mean, I remember weeks before being arrested telling someone, there's no God. Somebody said something about God in my social circle, and I almost mocked them and laughed. And I said, there's no God. You know, I got mad because I was so dead and empty inside. And when I was in prison and jail and I was going through all these memories and feeling all these emotions, I was like peeling back these layers, man. You know, I was just peeling back these layers. I was taking off this mask, and I wasn't scared to like ask for help. You know, that's what I mean by, like, I finally surrendered and let that wall down. And I was just like, God, like, if you're here, like, please help me. I need your strength, you know? And I was searching within, and I was searching for something greater than as well. And in that moment, something shifted and changed in me forever. I've never been the same since. And the outcomes in my life have never been the same since. Literally, a dial was changed. A dial was moved, and something in me changed. And I developed a relationship with God that carried me through that whole time of incarceration. And I never felt alone. I missed my family. There was times when I was sad, and you do battle depression and stuff like that in prison. But I always felt like something greater than was carrying me through that experience.
Ah, beautiful. Absolutely amazing. And guys, listen, look, we're not going to shove God down your throat. That's why we say, look, you can believe in God, you can believe in the universe, the powers, the bees, whatever it may be. But just know, even when you feel like nobody cares, there is somebody that always cares. There's always a way and there's always hope. It's built deep inside. And when you open up and allow yourself to experience it, man, you become this new person, this new person. Oh man, I know we're running short on time here, but I want to address and read this real quick, because this is the last point that I want to really hone down, because there's a saying that always says, you know, success leaves blueprints or breadcrumbs, what I like to call it. Page 88, towards the end, and then over to 89, it says, this is when I started to form unyielding discipline throughout my daily routines. I went all in on the aspect of my life I could control. This started by waking up early before sunrise. I would get up at 4 a.m., drink my instant coffee, and just be still. I would reflect and connect with the moment. Then I would close my eyes and meditate. I would give thanks for simply being alive, and I meant it. I would envision what I could be. I would fantasize about how life could be and what I could experience and do. How, Sean? How is this framework? Has it changed? Is it still the same? Do you still have foundational pieces that you do not you do not negotiate with. Take us through that blueprint, that success in prison, and how is it transformed to today?
Yeah, my morning routine is probably the most impactful thing I've ever done in my life that changed my life. I went from desire and hoping things could get better and then willing to fight for it. And then the morning routine just elevated me to a whole nother level, internally, cognitively, just this awareness. And I called it put it on my armor, because it first started because I wanted to be fully aware of all my senses and what was going on, fully in control of my emotional state every time I left my cell, so that I didn't get into a fight with someone or put myself in a bad situation that jeopardized my life or me going home on time. That's how it all started. And I also wanted some privacy because prison is such a loud and raucous place and you have no privacy. You're living with somebody, you're around other people 24/7. So I'd get up early and I just had this moment of solitude. And when I had that moment of solitude, there was no phone, no emails, no TV, no children to raise. There was nothing. It was just me in the moment. And I
Mm-hmm.
started becoming aware of this internal dialogue, this truth within me that I had tapped into previously when I was in the county jail, but now I'm in prison. And it was just helping me it was like a seed that I was watering every day that had been planted. And now it was just growing and growing and growing. I'll never forget, I would sit there and I'd have a little caffeine, my instant Folgers, and I would just close my eyes and I'd envision the life I wanted. And I'd have all these powerful emotions come alive. And I think about having a family. I think about being back in society as just a good person, giving back. I think about being reunited with my extended family, my loved ones. And I would just send like positive thoughts to everyone and picture their faces. And when I did that, man, I was just so full of gratitude. I wasn't even in prison in those moments. Very rarely during my time of incarceration was I actually in prison. Probably never, to be honest, because I was always in this state of like creation. I was always in this state of gratitude. I was a student. I was an athlete. I was a counselor. I wasn't a prisoner ever. I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't. I was a prisoner all the years before prison, but I freed myself going through that transformation and letting go what I needed to let go of. So my morning routine is very much still the same. I get up at 4 a.m. before my wife and kids while it's quiet. I sip some coffee. And a matter of fact, this morning I had instant Folgers. I like to have the better stuff now, but we were out of it. So I had instant Folgers. And the smell is nostalgic, man. Like when I smell that, it reminds me of what I had to do to get here. And I like it. I like that smell because it reminds me that, hey, today's a day that you have to fight for. Nothing's promised for you. Doesn't matter what you've accomplished since then. You still have a lot more that you want to do and experience, right? So I like it. I might start drinking it again every morning. But I I've changed one thing. I think about the previous 24 hours and anything that stands out in the form of regret, I think about that because that is a signal to me that, hey, you're regretting this thing because it's not in alignment with who you want to be. Oh, you were on your phone when your children were trying to talk to you, or oh, you were tired and stressed out at the end of the day and you weren't the positive, fun dad that your family knows and deserves, whatever it is. Oh, you like, oh, you shortchanged your nutrition or you shortchanged your training. Like I'm just giving you examples. Those things don't happen because I train like a beast. But so I pay attention to what that is because I don't want to let it repeat again. I'm going to correct it right then and there. It's going to be on my mind. And when I get up early, these things are in my awareness. So I go from reflection into like creation. Now I'm thinking about the day ahead of me. I know what my appointments are. I know I'm doing this podcast with you. I know who I'm coaching. I know where I'm going. And I'm visualizing those situations and how I'm going to show up, the energy I need, the mindset, the demeanor that is required when I'm with my family or when I'm coaching or when I'm doing these other things at the gym. Because when I do that, I'm mentally preparing to be the way I want. I'm setting those intentions. And when I do that every single day, guess what happens? I'm more likely to act that out throughout my day because I'm thinking of it, I'm preparing for it. So I do that. And then I always do a little journaling. I have a specific way that I like to write. And then I read or I work out. And I do that every day. The goal is to do it before anyone else wakes up. So then I can be dad. I can be with the kids and getting them ready with breakfast. My wife can do her workout or what she has to do to get ready for the day. And it just sets the tone. It sets the tone for my entire day.
Oh my gosh, dang it. Gosh, dang it, man. Look, I know you guys are probably listening to this on all the streaming services, Spotify, Apple Cast, but if you pause this and go to YouTube or where Spotify is it now, but you have to watch his demeanor. You have to watch Sean literally came alive there when he talked about his routine. He literally, you could see the spark. And then when he talked about the instant coffee, you could see the memories and everything firing because he knew what he did to get to where he is. He understands the space in which he lives in now, but he also understands that nothing is given to him today. He still has to go out and fight, but he's always grateful. He has the attitude of gratitude of where he came from. And he's even more grateful because he's not, well, not in prison anymore, but now he gets to go and help inspire other people become better, whether it's physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Holy freaking crap, people. I would cuss, but we try to run a clean podcast, but good night. That was fantastic. Unbelievable. Guys, the blueprint is there. Go back and replay this whole thing, and you will see Sean's blueprint from and this is the dynamic character. This is where you now have arrived to be the hero of your story and thousands of stories around. Is he went through his hardship, but he said a couple of really important things. One that I want to really bring to light is he was in prison well before he actually went to a physical prison. Mentally and emotionally, he was in prison. He wouldn't allow himself to escape that prison because he believed the falsetto or the false narrative of where his life was at and where it was going. It wasn't until he was brought to the lowest to where he then came out of his mental prison and now said, I'm not in prison. He even said it in the book. He talks about it. He wasn't in prison. He was doing things that he loved to do. He was an athlete. He was a coach, a teacher, a mentor. He could inspire other people and looked for the new day. And that's why I believe, he won't say this, but I believe that's why he gets up at 4 a.m. He wants to start his day before he starts his day. Sean, man, I'm telling you, there's so many more things we could go into, but we won't. I definitely want to respect your time. I'm curious. I need to ask this question. One of the things you had talked about in the book was you wanted a family, wife and children. How would you get through? Like, how would you get around some of the, you do tiptoe, do you get around it? Take us through that. How did your wife receive when you were dating her? How did your wife kind of receive and embrace and say, you know what? Everybody makes mistakes. I see you as you now. How did that conversation go? And how could you give counsel to people that said, well, I have a rough past. I don't know if I can ever find love.
Yeah, well, my wife knew me from the past. We briefly dated before I was incarcerated. So we had that spark there, and she knew who I really was. She knew the rougher, wild side of me. So when I came home, she noticed right away that I was different. She told me that, but so that wasn't as difficult to navigate because we had this spark from the past. It was perfect timing. We came back together. It was literally perfect timing. I just got out of prison. She was just lonely and looking for someone that she could live her life with. And we just gravitated towards each other. And we both wanted the same thing. We wanted a family. We wanted to live a good life. We didn't want the party scene anymore. Like it was phenomenal. She supported me tremendously throughout my journey. She's incredible. But what I was focused on, I wasn't worried about the relationships as much. I was focused on the community and my clients, because at this time I was training people in a gym. And I would just tell myself, prove to them who you are now. Your past, you can't change it. You can't go back in time and erase anything. Everyone knows you went to prison and what happened. Prove to them who you are now. So every day my focus was to be the most positive person, the hardest worker, the most accommodating. I just wanted to be someone that people want to be around. That was my character. That's the person I want to be. So I want to share that person with others. I want to help them get good results. I wanted to let them know I cared about them. And I just had to prove to them this time around who I truly was. So that's what I told myself leading to my getting out of prison. It's like, hey, it's not going to be ideal. Some people might not want to be around you or believe in you because they think you did that crime. That's okay. I can't change their opinion, but I can give my best effort and just show people the real me. And that's what my focus was coming home. And people gave me a second chance. I was able to change a lot of lives along the way in my local community and to really rebuild my reputation here. So that's my advice for anyone else who's gone through hardships or done things in the past. Like, the past doesn't have to define you forever. you can change, right? You can look at the past and say, I made a mistake, and own it and take responsibility, but this led me to making these changes that now allow me to do things differently in my life. And this is who I am today.
Oh my gosh. You know, the beauty of this, Sean, is I get to go back and listen to this before this actually comes out, and go back and take all of these nuggets and be ready for when this comes out. This actually is coming out, in June for Father's Day, because this is so impactful for all those men. Guys, we got to wrap up. I know you're all probably moaning and saying, no, please give us more. But Sean, please tell us, what are you doing? I know you're a fitness guy, you're a trainer, you're a coach, you're a mentor, you're a personal speaker. So tell us what you're doing. Tell us your business. If companies are like, we need you to come to our business and inspire us and teach us best ways to reach out to you, just kind of tell us what we're doing now.
Yeah. So the best way to reach out, Sean Michael Crane on Instagram or Facebook. I also have a website, seanmichaelcrane.org. I do life coaching. So mindset, habits, fitness, nutrition. My program's called Unstoppable Mindset, Fitness, Nutrition, Habits. I basically teach people how to optimize their routines to set them up for success in life, how to build a body they're proud of, how to build a morning routine and a daily routine that sets them up for success. And that always equates to them feeling better about themselves when they're taking care of their well-being. So that allows them to be better parents, better husbands and wives, better in the workspace, right? Everything that we do. So that's what I focus on with my clients, my coaching. Speaking is something I love doing. I go to business retreats, seminars, entrepreneur events, and speak on mindset and habits and what I shared with you today. So if someone would like to inquire about speaking, you can reach out to me on one of the social media platforms or on seanmichaelcrane.org. There's a questionnaire or something you can fill out there.
Oh man, guys, we're going to have all the links. Don't worry. We'll have all the links, all the ways to get a hold of Sean. You can get inspired. This is going to be one that people will replay often. And when people are feeling great or bad or crappy or happy or whatever, at any point, listen to this in the gym, because when you're banging and clanging and that weight seems like it's going to kick your butt, you just fast forward to any part in this conversation. You'll be like, nope, Sean told me I can do it and I can go out and crush today. Sean, man, thank you so much for this opportunity, for allowing us to bring you on this world. I know this podcast is worldwide. We're in 4 different countries, so I cannot wait to hear what people think about this podcast throughout the countries. Last thing, it's what I do with everybody on here. 5 books. Give me 5 books you would recommend someone to read. I'm already going to say it. This is the first book. Number 1, go out, get it, go out and read it, go out and learn and just understand the process. This is the book. It'll change your life. So besides your book, give me 5 books that you would recommend.
Yeah, I'm going to share the ones that have had the most impact on my life. And I'm sure you've heard someone give you the name of Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich. I read that in prison and I felt like he was speaking to my soul. It just resonated so profoundly with the changes I was going through. And I felt like he was articulating thoughts I was already having. It was remarkable. So Think and Grow Rich. I like the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People when it comes to segmenting your time and being more efficient with your time. That's something I use in my personal and professional life as well. CashFLow Quadrants is one I read recently by Robert Kiyosaki. Really good book. If you're someone who's maybe looking to shift your mindset around money or producing wealth in the future, a lot of times people have limiting beliefs when it comes to money and their worth, and they don't realize it, but they're actually hitting a ceiling because they don't believe they deserve more, they can earn more. So in my professional career right now, and what me and my family are doing, that book was just perfect timing because he talks about the mindset around the shift and that needs to take place. So those 3. There's another really good book that I can't think of the author's name, but everybody needs to read it. It's like a little bedside table book. Each chapter is a couple pages. Read a chapter a day to start up your day off with positive thinking, but it's Don't Sweat the Small Stuff, and it's all small stuff. If you Google that or type it on Amazon, I have it somewhere right here.
Oh my gosh, I know what you're talking about.
I just looked it up. I actually just ordered it.
I'll get the
for
author.
My son. I just ordered it for my son, Mason, because he's 11. And I just wanted to start realizing the power of his thoughts and his mind. And so I ordered it for him. And it's simple little anecdotal stories that really help you to understand the significance in our self-talk. So Here, I'll tell you the
Richard Carlson.
Okay, Richard Carlson.
Yep.
So that was that 4 or 5?
4.
Okay, so one more. Let me think. This is a book I read recently, and I think everyone should read it. Atomic Habits by James Clear.
Love it.
Phenomenal book because it's just really practical. You probably got it up there. Yeah. It's so practical, and you read it and you're like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. Why am I not doing that? Or, oh, I'm doing that and I didn't even notice, but I'm reinforcing a bad habit. It's just very practical advice. If you read that book and you apply what he teaches, you'll be able to make a lot of changes in your life, a lot of positive changes.
Oh, buddy, man, I cannot express, I've said it already, but I cannot express the joy, just pure bliss and love that we've been able to connect and get you on this, and what you are going to do and how you are going to continue to change and inspire people is absolutely amazing. And I could not be happier to have you on, man. Sean, thank you so much. Guys, if you love this, which I know you will, like it and share it. Send it to somebody who is struggling. Send it to somebody who is starting a business. Send it to somebody who's like, I need a change in my life, but I need somebody to hold me accountable. And it can't be somebody that I love, trust, and respect. Send them Sean's information. Say, you need to contact this guy. He's going to jumpstart your life as he's jumpstart all of us. Thank you so much, Sean, for being on this project. Guys, this has been another fantastic episode of The Art Study of You. Please go back and listen to it. Take the notes, because I will. I guarantee you I will have it. I will even post my notes from this conversation. Thank you so much, guys. Make it a great day. We'll catch you on the next episode of The Art Study of You.
Thank you for having me, Cameron.